Mumbai is a city that pulses with life at all hours, honking horns, glowing billboards, people moving without pause. But every now and then, a night arrives that feels unnaturally quiet, as if the city itself is holding its breath. The night Dr. Sana Deshmukh disappeared was one of those nights. A thin fog drifted in from the Arabian Sea, the kind that softens the lights along Worli sea face and makes everything look slightly distorted, like a memory that isn't sure if it wants to be remembered. At 11:47 p.m, a white Honda City pulled up near Worli Dairy. The CCTV camera caught a glimpse of the driver, Sana, stepping out, wearing a long dark kurta, her hair pulled back loosely, her posture tense. She held her phone tightly in one hand and kept glancing over her shoulder as if she expected someone to emerge from the shadows. She wasn't there for a drive or a late-night walk. Something had brought her there, something urgent. Seconds later, the camera captured another figure, tall, hooded, walking behind her just far enough to stay unnoticed, and then both of them slipped out of the camera's view into the misty darkness. That was the last image anyone had of her alive. By sunrise, the police had sealed off the area. Joggers found her handbag on the ground, her ID, her house keys, and her phone smashed against the rocks. A single folded paper lay inside with 4 cryptic numbers, 14, 9, 3, 7. No one understood it. No one knew what message Sana had been trying to send. But Inspector Aarav Patankar, a seasoned investigator who had solved some of the city's most twisted cases, sensed that these weren't random digits. Someone wanted her silence. Someone close. As the investigation unfolded, more strange clues emerged. A fisherman near Worli Fort discovered a fabric bracelet washed ashore, one of those colored bands given to trauma patients undergoing therapy. Sana herself had worked in Nair Hospital's psychiatry department, running specialized therapy sessions for high-risk patients, including one particular man whose name suddenly began appearing everywhere in the investigation, Rohan Kale. He had stopped attending therapy weeks earlier. His house in Shivaji Park was empty, but the police found his diary filled with disturbing scribbles, erratic drawings, and the same 4 numbers Sana had left behind. Whatever those numbers meant, both Sana and Rohan knew it. Things escalated when a taxi driver from Mahim came forward. 2 nights after Sana vanished, he had picked up a man who matched Rohan's description. Barefoot, shivering, with seaweed stuck to his clothes, the man barely spoke, but kept repeating one eerie phrase. 7 sins? 7 sins? It's almost done. The driver dropped him near an old seafood warehouse in Mahim Koliwada, a building abandoned after a fire years ago. When police raided that warehouse, they found a scene that made even veteran officers uneasy. The place smelled of damp salt water and burnt wood. In one corner were rusted metal hooks hanging from beams. A stained mattress lay on the floor. Candles were arranged in a circular pattern, melted into pools of wax. The metal locker contained Sana's ring, her bracelet, and a strip of cloth that matched the shawl she had been wearing. Something terrible had happened here, but there was no sign of her body and no sign of Rohan. Just when the case seemed stuck, Sana's damaged phone was carefully reconstructed by forensic technicians. Hidden deep inside was an unsent message, just a draft, never delivered. It read, "Aarav, someone in the hospital is involved." That changed everything. Up until then, everyone believed the suspect was outside, a patient, a stalker, a stranger. But Sana was pointing inward, to her workplace, her colleagues, maybe someone she trusted. Beneath the corrupted files on her phone was another discovery, a short, hazy 4-second audio clip. Sana's voice whispered one name, Dr. Mehra, followed by the sound of hurried footsteps and a door slamming shut. That name, the name of one of the most respected psychiatrists at Nair Hospital, sent a jolt through the investigation. Dr. Mehra was in his early 40s, charming, composed, known for his flawless reputation and his clean disciplinary record. But when Patankar started digging deeper, the cracks in that perfect image appeared. Old complaints from former patients had been quietly buried. Records of therapy sessions were missing. Some files had been edited without authorization. A few staff members recalled incidents where Mehra had pressured patients into long-term treatment plans they didn't need. Nothing was formally proven, but the pattern pointed to someone who had power and liked to abuse it. When Rohan was finally located hiding in a dilapidated building near Sion, the young man was trembling, confused, and terrified. He insisted he didn't kill Sana. He said Dr. Mehra had manipulated him for months, using therapy and medication to twist his perception. According to Rohan, Mehra told him that Sana was trying to destroy his life, that she wanted him locked away forever. Under that psychological influence, Rohan obeyed Mehra like a frightened child. He admitted bringing Sana to the Mahim warehouse, but he insisted Mehra was the one who took her away afterward. He said he'd fix her. Rohan sobbed. He said she knew too much. Armed with this new testimony, Inspector Patankar obtained a warrant and searched Dr. Mehra's private office at Nair Hospital. What they found confirmed everything Sana had been afraid of. Behind a false panel in a wooden cabinet were hidden files, tapes of unauthorized therapy sessions, forged patient reports, and, most damning of all, Sana's missing notebook. Inside that notebook were her detailed observations of Mehra's unethical practices. She had documented everything. She had been preparing to report him, and Mehra must have known. Patankar realized the motive instantly. Sana was a threat to Mehra's empire, an empire built on manipulation, corruption, and psychological control of vulnerable patients. He needed her gone, and he used Rohan as his pawn. The final piece of the puzzle came from Mehra's weekend farmhouse in Vasai. When the police raided the property, they found a hidden basement room filled with medical supplies, sedatives, restraints, and a blood-stained strip of fabric that matched Sana's clothing. They found enough physical evidence to tie Mehra directly to her abduction and death. As officers searched the backfields, Mehra tried to flee through the darkness, but Patankar's team caught him before he reached the highway. During interrogation, Mehra didn't deny anything. He spoke with chilling calm, almost pride. He admitted that Sana had confronted him about the falsified reports and illegal prescriptions. She threatened to escalate the matter. She refused his attempts to silence her. So he planned every step, sending her the message that lured her to Worli, sending Rohan to bring her to the warehouse, and later disposing of her body near the Worli rocks where he knew tides would erase evidence. In his mind, he hadn't committed a murder. He had protected himself from professional sabotage. It took 42 days for the case to be officially closed. Rohan Koliwada was moved to a secure psychiatric facility where he would finally receive proper care, no longer under Mehra's control. Dr. Samir Mehra was sentenced to life imprisonment, with the court calling his actions a betrayal of trust at the highest level of medical authority. Sana's family received justice, justice that felt heavy but necessary, like a closed door that will always carry echoes. A few weeks later, Inspector Patankar returned to Worli Seaface. The same lamps glowed faintly in the night, their yellow halos stretching across the wet pavement. The waves rolled in with their usual relentless rhythm. The city around him moved as it always did, busy, chaotic, unstoppable. But for the first time since the night Sana disappeared, the air felt lighter. He stood there, watching the water strike the tetrapods, thinking of how the sea had tried to hide the truth, and how the truth had still surfaced despite everything. That night, as he walked back to his car, the city felt different. Not silent, not loud, just steady, calm. The shadows no longer felt threatening. The fog no longer felt suffocating. With the real culprit exposed, the conspiracy dismantled, and Sana's voice finally heard, Mumbai, after weeks of fear, confusion, and sleepless nights, rested. And for the first time since the case began, Mumbai slept in peace.